All right, welcome in. Keep Show Podcast, college football podcast, coming back to you on a Sunday. Going to get back to our top fives after a great conversation with Josh Pate last week. Couple of positions left that we need to hit. We have not discussed. A couple on the defensive side of the football as well. Today's is a little bit tricky, mainly because of how defenses are played. So we're going to vary who we include, don't include, how this list goes. There are a couple of different ways that I think you could contort these lists and make them different as far as who's going to be maybe 2 or 4 or 5 or 3. But I'm going to include some that I want that I think are going to affect the games in different ways. There's some that probably we could include that aren't going to be there. We're going to go our top 5 SEC linebacking cores for 2025. Now, you probably already know edge defenders. We included some of those with our defensive lines that we did a couple weeks ago. We could talk about now a couple of these safeties where they're coming down playing in the box. Could they be considered linebackers at times for teams like Kentucky, Oklahoma, Missouri, different teams that have guys rolled into the box playing different roles, LSU specifically. But we're just going to go with what we have. We're going to go off who we think is going to contribute at a linebacker position, be it inside, outside, whatever, and we're going to kind of go from there. I do think this is a position of strength in the league this year. Now, depth is not going to be great for a lot of teams. It's one of the things that's going to bump a few teams up, but there are not a lot of great teams, or not a lot of teams that have great depth at this spot in the Southeastern Conference, which is why some guys that have complete game changers are going to move up above some others. But I do like some groups top to bottom, and I do think there are some groups that aren't going to be in the top 5 that have a real good chance to be there by the end of the season. So let's roll into it. You guys know each and every week, brought to you by Wickles Pickles, wickedly delicious. We always have them here each and every week. Wickles Pickles, if you don't have them in your grocery store, tell them you want them. They got great recipes, great ways for you to snack on them. We love Wickles Pickles in our household. You'll love them in your household as well. All right, so let's dive right into this. Top 5 linebacking cores in the SEC for 2025. Number 5 is going to be Ole Miss. A lot of folks are going to look at this and probably say, man, that defense is going to be so different from last year. How could you really include it? I don't like that. But with Suntaran Perkins first and foremost, as much as he's doing off the ball, out in the flat, yes, he can rush the passer as well. But I do think he's a little bit more well-rounded in that and somebody that's going to help this team as an actual linebacker. I'm willing to put Ole Miss there with T.J. Daugherty coming back. Daugherty, 76 tackles a year ago. A guy that is a little bit more of a downhill thumper, super physical, but has the speed to play all over the place. A guy that I really like and is kind of coming into his own after transferring in from Clemson. So just those two being there, I think, is going to be enough. You go to the rest of the depth chart. With Tyler Banks, Jaden Yates, who's transferring in. Jaden Yates, a guy that there's not a ton out there that you watch on him and you say, yeah, he's a total difference maker, but did play good football at Marshall, I think 33 tackles a season ago. So he comes in. Andrew Jones from Grambling in Memphis played a lot of football. And you go get Taj Chambers from Missouri State, a guy that not a lot of us has heard of or know a lot about, but he's 6'2", 215, and in 3 years had 196 tackles, 17 for loss. So another bigger physical linebacker that can play downhill. Where Ole Miss went ahead of a couple others here, even though Daugherty and Perkins might get them there on their own, is going to be the depth that they added. So you went and found 3 players that have played a lot of college football, that know the speed, know the requirements, can read the keys the way that they need to, the way that Pete Golding's going to want them to, and you're going to be able to plug them in. So a little more depth here for Ole Miss than some other groups are going to have, but I like Daugherty. I thought he had a great year last year, and Perkins is just a dynamo. I think if you need him as a pass rusher, he can be that guy. He's got great arm length, great awareness. I mean, Pete Golding has told us, I think he told us 2 years ago that he thought he was their best overall football player on defense. So he's a young man that's going to help you in different ways, can obviously work out in the flat, can get back in coverage when he needs to, and has the speed to be able to handle himself just about anywhere. So he's valuable at the linebacker position, not just the pass rusher position, which is why I'm going to have Ole Miss coming in at number 4. Let's continue with our linebacking cores. This is the one I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, y'all are going to be mad about it. I know, I'm sorry. But I think you have to take the injuries into account. And I think you have to look at the fact that your 2 best players, potentially, depending on how they're used, depending on the roles that they accept, and obviously I'm not talking about Whit Weeks there, but with Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins coming off serious injuries, it's tough for me to put them ahead of some of these other groups that have guys that maybe that's not a real concern of what their availability is going to be, or if their effectiveness is going to be hampered by something that happened. Do I hope they're both back 100%? Absolutely. I think they could be. It might not be a problem at all, but I'm going to have LSU coming in at number 4. Davon Keys is back. Tylen Singleton's going to be back. And then Whit Weeks, 125 tackles last year, man. Like, he is the standard of kamikaze pilot at linebacker. See ball, get ball. Just attack and make things happen. He's that guy. I'm a fan of his play. I'm a fan of him as a person. You now have his brother in there in West Weeks, who's going to be helping out, getting some reps also. And then, of course, Harold Perkins, who can be one of the better pass rushers in all of college football. But you're also going to need to be able to hold the point of attack. You're also going to need to be able to play in space if you're not going to do that all the time. So where will his role be? I think it can work itself out specifically with Blake Baker and how he operates and what he needs and wants his guys to do. You saw how effective Whit Weeks could be doing it last year. Yeah, a little more off the ball, but a lot more of an attacking style. Hey, shoot the A-gap here, kill some shit. Like, that's what we need you to do. And he can go make that happen. Perkins can be that guy. There just needs to be a little bit more of a comfort level with the role where he's inserted to be able to go in and make it happen on a consistent basis. And then more importantly, do not be a liability when lined up and be asked to do certain things for your defense. But I like this group. It could end up being easily number one by the end of the season. I need to see how guys are going to be utilized. I need to see how some of the roles are going to be accepted, if some of the depth can come in and take some real snaps away. And then obviously coming off the injuries, what those guys are going to look like. But easily could be one that I think we're looking at as number one by the end of the season. It's just because of some of the other guys that we're going to talk about in those injuries, had to bump them down just a little bit. All right, guys, you've heard me talking about every Tuesday I'm going to be breaking probably football cards on Whatnot. It's easy. You go grab your phone, go to the Whatnot app right there. Bam, you hit it. Whatnot comes up, and you're going to find my friends at Pizza Pools. So just go search. I got Pizza Pools first right there, saved. Bam, right at the top, and you'll see them, and they'll be getting something going, and you'll see shows that are coming up, and mine's going to be coming up on Tuesdays right there. Go get your phone, get the Whatnot app, go find Pizza Pools, follow them. Every Tuesday, I'm breaking football cards. The Panini Contenders Optic, we've broken these the last 2 weeks. High-value cards, an expensive box of cards that you can get into and buy a team for $8, $12, $18. And then you want the Raiders and chase Brock Bowers, you can do that. You want the Dolphins and want to go for a Chop Robinson rookie or Tyreek Hill or Tua, you can do that. You want to chase that Jaden Daniels rookie, you can do that. J.J. McCarthy auto, they've got him in that product. Brian Thomas Jr. auto out of LSU for the Jags, they've got him in that product. Whether it's Topps Midnight, whether it's Topps Chrome, we'll be breaking football every week. Get you all the best autos, patch cards, rookies, whatever it is. And you can get in there for a fraction of what it's going to cost you to actually go out and buy a box of these cards. If you're trying to get back into the hobby, go to Whatnot, download the app, get set up, go to Pizza Pools, follow them, and tell John and the guys you heard about them right here on Cube Show, because we'll be there breaking cards every Tuesday. Alabama comes in at number 3. We're talking our top 5 Southeastern Conference linebacking cores for 2025. Alabama, Deontay Lawson, I believe one of the standards as far as how off-the-ball linebackers should be played in all of college football. He will attack a blocker downhill. He'll take on a guard. He'll take on a fullback, H-back if he needs to, tight end, whatever it is. He knows how to get it done in pass coverage. He has the speed to operate in space. He can get sideline to sideline. He has gotten better and better at diagnosing things as his career has gone on. Now, has he been dinged up a little bit? Yeah, he has. Need to see him healthy. He's got to stay healthy for the entire season, in my opinion, if Alabama's going to have a great defense. Because I think he's their best player, maybe the best football player on their team outside of Ryan Williams. And he's got to be a guy whose tenacity, physicality, just motor, the way he plays. And then some of the leadership stuff that you hear about as well. They need that on the field. He can be that guy, but he's got to be out there to be able to do it. I think he has really welcomed in being the signal caller, being the leader of the defense, being the guy that gets people lined up, as a lot of other Alabama inside linebackers have done really for all of time. He's welcomed that. He wants that. He can be that guy. So you put him next to a Justin Jefferson who can flat out run, and I think has gotten better at diagnosing things, was one of the big concerns with him going into last year. Got to know where to go, how to get there, and why we're going to be lined up to do it that way. And I think he's a little bit better with that heading into this season. There's much more confidence around what he can be because of that. It didn't have to be a full-time guy last year and will be this year. So I think the athleticism, speed you get with those two, you want to include Quay Russaw in that group, who probably is going to be lined up at the line of scrimmage and be rushing the passer a little bit more, but gives you the ability to operate as an outside linebacker in some different ways. I like this group. You go get Nakia Hall-Green from Michigan, has been at Colorado and Charlotte, 6'2", 230. Just a big physical linebacker that was very productive at Charlotte, didn't do a ton at Michigan, also been at Colorado. He's played a lot of football. All right, QB Reese is an incoming freshman. He's got those bloodlines. I played with his dad, Quentin Reese, at Auburn, super athlete, specifically for his size. And Caden Jones are there, a guy that I think can help off the bench as well. So not as much known depth, but I do think you have some high-end depth, some high-ceiling depth in this Alabama linebacking room. We'll see how that plays out, exactly what it means, because I do think it's of vast importance that Deontay Lawson and Justin Jefferson stay healthy this year. Those two have to be on the field because they're difference makers, and I don't know if there's a lot of other guys like them inside this core. But you went out, you cherry-picked a veteran that has a lot of experience to add some depth because you know what you have up front, and you have some youngsters that maybe come in, get some reps, and help your group succeed just a little bit further. So I like Alabama there at 3. Deontay Lawson has a lot to do with it. Jefferson Rousseau have something to do with it as well. But you have one guy that I think puts you ahead of a lot of other guys in this league. Don't forget about Roback. My guys, use promo code COLE20 to get all the fresh gear at Roback. These hoodies are my absolute favorite. Polos are in for summer. Workout shorts, dress shorts that are super comfortable. Got the elastic waistband for summer. You need belts. You need the old bucket hat. Roback's got them. Go check out the website, roback.com. The T-shirts, the long-sleeve T-shirts, the joggers, they're all in stock now at roback.com. Got brand new stuff coming up for this summer. Always fresh gear for different events coming up. And you can get a little father-son match combo for your little man right now, too, at roback.com. Use promo code COLE20 at roback.com. Number 2 is going to be Georgia. I think Raylan Wilson's ready to bust out. Still 47 tackles last year, but the guy can run. Super athleticism, super speed, not afraid of contact. C.J. Allen, in a little bit of a different light, is one of those heat-seeking missiles, just super physical, wants to find contact, not as loose as a Raylan Wilson, but a guy that can see ball, get downhill, be a thumper. I think he can, obviously 76 tackles last year in the SEC. You know what you're doing. Again, these guys got to stay healthy, got to stay on the field. Chris Cole, 16 tackles last year, can help with depth. You got Quinteris Johnson. You got Justin Williams there to add a little bit of depth. Guys that are maybe coming on a little bit for this Georgia defense. But the big one is Elo Medozi, who you add out of Army. If you go back and look at our impact transfer video that we did a couple weeks ago, we've got clips of him, and there's a lot of him back in space. There's a lot of him back off the ball. I love him more as a pass rusher because of the length, how he can bend and torque the edge, and his flexibility and his overall quickness. But he operated in space a fair amount of time, so he can do that. He can operate that way. He can be that guy. And I think adding him only ramps up what this Georgia linebacking core can be. And keep in mind, there have been a couple of players that we've seen them off the ball a little bit. We've seen him down on the ball some. Jalen Walker, a perfect example of that. I think, but when you look at what Elo Medozi is going to be able to be for Georgia, it's not just going to be lined up outside the tackle, try to go get to the quarterback. He'll do different things, and that versatility means I think you have to include him in their linebacking room and what he's going to be able to offer, what he's going to be able to do. But you put Medozi with Wilson, Allen, the versatility there, the different style players that you have, and the experience and playmaking ability, they've got to be knocking on the door being the number 1 linebacking core in the league right now. Are they number 1? Obviously, no, not for a reason. We'll get to that in a moment, but I think they have a chance to be. There's multiple teams. I think Alabama, I think LSU, maybe even Ole Miss, if they get a youngster, one of these transfer kids has a really big year, they could all be talked about as the number 1 group by the end of the season. And there's a couple that aren't on the list that I think have a chance to. Finally, guys, don't forget about my friends at GameDay Men's Health. GameDay Men's Health wants to help you feel better. If you are feeling on edge, maybe you're lacking sleep, maybe you're got low energy. All of those can be repaired at GameDay Men's Health. You just want to lose some weight, they can help you with that. They have the peptides in stock now that they can mix and match different ways for anti-aging, skincare, gut health, arthritis, better sleep, and your body stops making these over time. So it can really help you out if you're getting a little bit older like I am. GameDay Men's Health has helped me. They can help you. Do this. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Sign up for the free consultation. You get the free PSA test, the free testosterone test, find out where your baseline health is, and then they can help you out wherever you might need to go. And don't forget to tell them you heard of them right here on Cube Show, which takes us to number 1, what I believe to be the best linebacking core in the SEC right now, and it's Texas. Anthony Hill Jr., to me, is that guy. When you're talking about off-the-ball linebackers in all of college football, He's that dude. Line him up inside off the ball, have him go downhill on a center or a guard who's trying to scoop up off a double team. He can punish them. Have him shoot the gaps, line up in the A gap, B gap, go attack, go penetrate, disrupt. He can do that. Line him up outside off the edge and let him operate as an edge rusher. He can do that. I've seen him do it. Sideline to sideline coverage. There is no liability aspect to this young man's game. He is a see everything, do everything, be everything football player for the Texas Longhorns, and they put him right in the middle of that defense. And maybe my favorite part about him is when I asked Sark about how he's kind of come on a little bit and how he's doing some different things this year. Sark says, he's gotten to be much more of a prick in a good way. We needed that. So that leadership portion of that, holding other guys accountable, he's also that guy in that Texas defense. I'm a big fan of his work. I think he alone almost separates this Texas core. But then you go take a Trey Moore, who's going to be kind of off the ball, on the ball. I think Ethan Burke is your edge guy that probably spends most of his time on the ball. So I won't include him here. Colin Simmons, though, has been out in space. He'll go out in the flat a little bit. He will drop in coverage on occasion. He'll line up different places and do different things. So I think Simmons Moore have to be included here. Then you go get Brad Spence from Arkansas that's played in this league, that understands what it's all about, speed, physicality, every bit of it. And then Leona Leafew, I think, also is somebody that got good snaps last year. I thought he made some plays when he was in, extremely active, a guy that showed you if he needs to be relied upon, he can be that other guy for the Texas linebacking unit that goes in there and makes plays. There were times when he flashed to me on film, and I'm thinking, how's this guy not in the game more? But again, we've talked about structure a little bit. There's not a lot of teams playing with three just old school linebackers anymore. There's not Andy Katzenmoyer and two other guys like him that are off the ball for Ohio State's defense. They're just waiting to come downhill on somebody or get out in the flat for a toss sweep. It doesn't really work that way. A lot of tweeners, a lot of in-between guys, safeties that come down, safeties that drop back, guys that look like linebackers at times. So you're not getting as many numbers in this group as you used to. But I do think we have some impactful guys across the league that are going to be able to affect things. I mentioned a couple of other groups, like Arkansas with Xavier Story and Steven Dix, a group that can flat out run, a group that can attack. I worry a little bit about how they're going to be covered up front, but that's a group we could be talking about later in the year. I love DeMarcus Riddick at Auburn. I think Kieron Crawford could fit into a little bit of a role that we saw last year with an edge rusher off the ball at times that helps things, but I want to see that before I know exactly how that's going to work. Tristan Newsome at Missouri's fun to watch. You add Damon Wilson to that group with what they have at safety coming downhill. It's going to be a fun group. I just don't know if I can put them ahead of any of these that we mentioned right now. Pup Howard at Florida, along with George Gums, who I think, similar to what we talked about with Crawford at Auburn, can be used different ways. I think it's a group that deserves some respect. Just don't know if they're in front of these other five. Kip Lewis can fly at Oklahoma. Kobe McKenzie going to be back. But with what you lost with one of the all-time greats there a season ago, just didn't quite sneak onto this list. Tennessee's got a real argument with Aaron Carter, one of the faster linebackers in this league. Jeremiah Thielen are going to be back there as well. Just felt like some of these other groups that we mentioned ahead of them have more guys that are on a little bit of a different level. I like Scooby Williams and Torrin York at A&M. Scooby Williams was great last year, fit right in. He's a guy that I think can help. Maybe A&M's a group with a good defensive line that makes a big leap this year. And Vandy still has Brian Longwell and Langston Patterson back. Kentucky's got Davin Rayner and Alex Afari, who did a great job moving from safety to linebacker last year and really kind of kept things going for Brad White's defense. They didn't miss a beat with what they were. And Nick Mitchell back at Mississippi State is going to help that group be a little bit better. As I stated earlier in the show, this is a strong group. It's not going to be strong with numbers for every team, but I think every team's got a guy. Every team's got a playmaker here for the most part. Every team. I mean, I left South Carolina off here, but with what you lost versus some of the guys that are coming in that are a little bit new, there's just so many unknowns there. I don't know how to reference it really right now. Don't know exactly what it's going to be, what it's going to look like. But I do know this, playing for Clayton White, probably going to figure out how to get it really close to right because that guy's that good. So, but you lose a lot in front of you as well. I think this is a position that is going to have a couple of stars in the league this year, a couple of legitimate playmakers, a couple of erasers, which can really change how you play defense, where you line guys up, what you ask guys to do. So it's going to be a really fun watch with a lot of these groups and a lot of these individuals with what they turn into and maybe how they can change some things across the league. Because with all the option games and the RPO games and the read games, it's very important to have a guy that can see things and then attack things the right way and go make a play for you. in this Southeastern Conference this upcoming season. So there you go. There's my top 5. Comment how much you hate it. It's all good. You've done it before. You can do it again. Only a couple more groups to get to until we wrap this up. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget to go subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you are maybe out there listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, please subscribe there. Tell your friends about it. We always appreciate the support. So go support Wickles Pickles and our sponsors, and we'll be back next week.